Hey guys, it's Ryan Settlemyre, your host of Lake Hickory Haunts Behind the Screams. It is episode 7 with our very special guest, Morgan, my wife. So Morgan knows me as well as anyone here does, pretty much. And Morgan started with us in 2017.
16. Well, I helped in 16, but didn't start till 17.
Right, so we met in 2016.
Yep.
And then, so we'll start where we met. And we're going to share some information with you guys about how we met and then how Morgan came to be involved with the haunt and then now how she helps with the haunt so much more than you see and more than anything you help me. And that helps the haunt. And truly at this point I could not do it without Morgan and her love and everything that you do for me, everything that you show me emotionally, all the care that you give. And the positivity, when times are tough and when I come home and see you, it gives me a lot more than anybody else could, And so when we started, before we get too deep and lovey-dovey, we met in 2016,
Yep.
And our first date was at Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, you were 3 hours late.
Yep, I was late to our first date.
Yeah. And you brought your best friend.
Well, best friend at the time.
Yeah.
A good friend.
It was weird. It was you two and then me, so it was like a 3-person date.
It was, but he was supposed to have somebody else with him.
But he didn't.
And so this was 8 years ago? About 8? 9?
9.
9 years ago.
Years. 16, and next year will be 26, which is 10. We met in February.
Yeah, so we've known each other 9 years now. And before we went on that date, we had never met each other at all.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend had came with us on the date, and he was supposed to have somebody with him, so it was going to be a double date. But his date bailed last minute, so it was just him and then Morgan and I, which of course was kind of awkward.
Yeah.
And we met there, and then afterwards, and we won't go into the details of the date. It was all right. We made it through it. We got to know each other a little bit. And then afterwards, it's like, hey, I own Lake Hickory Haunts. This is what I do.
He said, you ever heard of it? I said, nope.
And I was like, really? So I was like, come on, I'll show you. And at the time, we were reconstructing the original Midway. So we've talked a lot about new Midways, but this is the old Midway down bottom. So I'm saying the year we met, the Midway before then was linear. So if you came in 2012, 2013 to Lake Hickory Haunts, the Midway was just this hill going down. Well, the year we met was the year we were expanding the Midway down there to make it bigger.
Yep.
So we walked down, I brought you down, and we were going down to take a look at things. And if you want to talk about how you felt about it at the time.
It was sketchy. Like, I didn't know you guys. I didn't know where I was. And then you were like, oh, here's the Nightmare Factory. And I walk in and you shut the door behind me.
For like 2 seconds.
No, it felt like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Felt like it.
Yeah, I thought y'all were going to kill me.
But we didn't.
True. Yeah.
So that first date was funny. So from my perspective, I was like, I'm going to show you what I do. I'm going to take, even though the lights are off, it's like, I'm going to show you the boat ride that we had at the time. And I was going to show you everything that we were working on. And I was just excited to show her. But from her perspective, she was like, just some dude that's doing this haunted trail. He's going to kidnap me or something.
Psycho, yeah.
'Cause
serial killer.
You hear about those other haunts.
Yeah, it was like my parents. They were like, wait, like, looking back, they're probably like, oh, don't do this. They're in my brain, like, Morgan, you're going to get raped or, like, killed.
Right.
And I was like, oh, my parents would be so disappointed. But I didn't die.
You were, like, so nervous. I was like, I promise.
Well, that's because I was so sheltered.
True. So, brought you out on the boat. You saw the boat ride and everything. And
yeah, we fished.
Yep. And how did the haunt look then for you? Like, what did you think about it then?
As compared to now, or just in general? I didn't really do haunted house stuff.
So you weren't thinking about it that way?
No,
yeah.
I think I just thought it was weird at the time. I was like, how is this a job?
Right.
Yeah.
Always had doubts about that, right?
Not always, but yeah.
And since then, we've had a lot of ups and downs since our first date.
Yeah.
And then it was that first year that we met that during haunt season you actually helped, right?
Yeah.
Helped in the ticket booth, and that's
Everywhere. I didn't do ticket booths till 17.
at all.
Ashley did it.
So I thought you helped Ashley.
No, I just remember when like I got the midway prizes and like walked around and helped if
Oh,
people
yeah.
needed help with anything.
Because I was playing boss.
Yeah, and it wasn't big enough then that we needed 2 box office workers.
Right.
We just needed the one because I felt like I just was like hovering over her.
Right. And I was like, you want to scare people? You want to act?
No. But yeah, I might have helped her some, but mostly I walked around and helped people with whatever else they needed help with.
And you were also in nursing school at the time, right? And nursing.
Yeah.
You were working day shift then, though.
Yeah,
Right.
as a CNA. Mm-hmm.
So you were here when you could, and when you weren't able to be, you weren't. But we were just dating at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you helped with different things, and then the next year in 2017, you helped more in the off season.
Yep.
We did some photo shoots with Jason also.
Yeah.
Maybe we can throw up some pictures of those.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That was. You want to talk about how that was for you?
Yeah, that was weird. I'd never done anything like that before. You were like, oh, let's take some pictures. I was like, okay, cool.
Photo shoot, yeah, for the haunt.
Not what I thought. I had like it wasn't a nurse gown. It was like a patient gown or like a muumuu or something.
Like a wife gown, or not a wife gown,
like
but
a mama gown.
yeah, so like an old white.
Like a muumuu. I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go with that.
Jason's like, are you cool if I put blood on you? And I'm like, I guess so, thinking it was going to be like, he goes, and dumps a whole thing of blood on me.
Just
like,
pouring it all
stained
over.
my hair for like 2 weeks.
And then we did all the shots where he was like, it's like, well, you know how it is during the photo shoots now. It's like,
Yeah, but then I'd never done any of that. I was like, oh my gosh, they're actually going to kill me.
it's like I got to get in
Again.
character, and then I got to make you scared.
Oh, I was actually scared.
So the shot looks good.
Oh, I know.
So you'll see that shot where Morgan's up on the metal fence, and then you'll see me as boss just screaming
Yeah, it was
right
bad.
behind you. And
I was
you're
like, this guy's actually psychotic.
But the pictures turned out great, as you'll see. So if you haven't seen those, that was the first photo shoot
Yep.
that we did together.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we did a lot of stuff like that in the off season. You went also with me to Nights of Destruction at Hickory Motor Speedway.
Yes.
The box truck broke down that one time.
Yeah, I had to pull it with my truck.
Yeah, with the chain.
Yeah.
And that was awful.
Down 321.
So we were on the way to Nights of Destruction. I was driving the box truck as Boss the Clown, the zombie response vehicle that we have. And going down, it dies. It's like, oh no. But we've got to get the truck there because we're just getting it there for looks, one way or another. So it broke down. We hooked it up. And she's pulling me. We're on the phone. I'm like, okay, go easy, go easy. And then I'm in neutral, and then it's like...
It was so bad.
And then I'm like, slow down, and then we take off again. And meanwhile, I'm playing Boss the Clown, so you could imagine people going down the road.
It's like my truck was pulling your truck, so then my truck would be like slow to take off, and then like yours would pull, so it would pull my truck back, and then they would have to like work to start again. It was terrible.
Because we used the
It took
chain.
so long, yeah.
Chain with no give, right? So she would start pulling, and then it would just go bang, and then
Yeah,
you
it
would
was
feel
bad.
it bang. But we got there.
Yeah, safely somehow.
That was one of them things. If you could have saw it, oh my gosh, that was funny.
I'm sure people were like, what in the world?
And nobody knew what we had to go through just to get there,
No.
just to get it there.
Yeah.
And then we had to leave it there for a week until I could get it towed.
Yeah, because we weren't pulling it back to the haunt like that.
No.
That was terrible.
So we brought it to the shop, and then that was just one of many events that we went to. You went with me to a lot of events and started to really help more and more.
Crawdads, yeah.
Crawdads, movie theater, AMC in Hickory.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Probably Morgan and Festival at some point.
Yep.
Lots of off-season festivals and events. Because we didn't have money to market at the time. So
Free marketing.
yeah, it was guerrilla marketing, going out there and spreading the word. So it was awesome that you were there to help me with, giving out cards and helping the actors with water and stuff. And that's something that you still do to this day that helps a lot and that people really appreciate. you've always done a good job of that. It's your heart, you care and you want to do everything you can to help people, and it makes a huge difference. I love you for that.
Thanks.
Love you for a lot more than that, but that's something that every year we're together, I see more and more how much you not only care about me, but also about our people and also about the business, so we do it together and you do an amazing job.
Thanks.
So then following up from the box truck and those events, then that year is the first year that you helped with ticket sales, right, with Ashley.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah.
So how was
It was
that?
terrible.
Because you had never worked with money
I
in
never
that
did
way.
anything other than like babysitting or like house sitting for my parents' friends.
Right.
And then like I was a CNA at the hospital, so like I never dealt with money, any of that. It was just like nursing stuff. And then that was what I was going to school for, was to be a nurse. So I knew nothing about sales, nothing about money, nothing about managing, and it was a struggle.
But the good part is the business wasn't as
Busy.
large as it is now.
I probably would have died if I would have got thrown into it now.
Right. But at the time, it was a one-person position, like you said.
Yeah.
And then we were growing, and Ashley did need the help,
And then she taught me too.
Right. And then you learned it. You learned how to do the counts
And then tweaked it the way I thought would be better.
Right. And then we
for
built
us.
the mini ticket booth that we put out front of the old store, because the old store was falling apart.
Midway ticket booth building.
Yes, it's the Midway ticket booth now, but it was a mini ticket booth that we used in front of the old store. So that's where you ran tickets for years.
Yeah, a couple years.
Through 2020. And so then from that point, you brought more people on. We brought more people on into the box office. So in 2020, how many windows and how many people did we have working?
3 windows, and I think I had, in the early days it was just 2 plus me because I stayed in the box office.
Right.
And then later I brought in 3 people, and then I would run and do whatever else needed to be done.
And I think in the last year in 2020, you and Gwen had a table outside.
Oh yeah, there was numerous nights where we were having to sell like card only on phone or like cash only with Gwen outside because the line was so long. Like you couldn't manage it just with the 2 or 3 windows that were open.
Yeah, we literally had a table set up outside of the ticket booth just to be able to handle the people. And that was the same year as COVID too. So, and our attendance was up that year, as it has been every year.
Yeah.
But it was a lot
drastically up.
Bigger increase, pretty much double.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we were dealing with social distancing, so that was a very hectic year.
The temperature checks for everyone, masks.
And you were doing that all while you were still doing nursing too.
Yeah.
And you were working night shift at that point.
Yep.
So you had to work your schedule around the haunt to be able to be here, but you made it work, and we made it through it. And then the following year in 2021, that's when, during the off season, we built the box office with all these new windows. So if you've been to the haunt in 21, 22, 23, 24, you've seen the new box office setup, which of course is a lot safer for you.
Yeah.
Air conditioned, heat, windows, you've got place to store things. It's pretty much the perfect setup for a box office. That same year in 2021, we got married.
Yep.
And we bought a house.
And got a dog.
Yep. All at the same time, while we were building the box office, expanding the parking lot, building the new Midway and the new layer of the Undane.
Remember we went on our honeymoon and came back and our air conditioner in the house was broken?
Yes.
In July or June. It was June. Middle of June.
So we got married May 29th, and from it was like so much stuff was happening. The beginning of our marriage was a challenge, right?
This was a lot.
Yeah.
And it was different.
Right. Like we had, like you said, we had the stress from
the new house,
the dog, all the
Mary.
expansions here.
We had never lived together before.
Right, so we were learning that. the AC went out, but
right
we just
after
had
we
to
got back, yeah.
we just had to keep going, right?
We got back from Jamaica and it was hot there. We're like, oh, it would be nice to get in the air conditioning. Psych.
So then we got back and we made it through the hot AC, and then we made it to season. We made it through that season.
Mm-hmm.
And then every year since then we've grown, and you've stepped into new positions. So now you help in other ways than just the box office. So to give an introduction for Morgan's position now, Morgan manages the box office. So basically Morgan manages sales. So that includes box office sales, concession sales, gift shop, Monster Mart sales, and Midway ticket booth sales. Parking sales, and then many concession sales as well. So there's a lot of things that you oversee now.
Anything with money.
You do a really good job of it, and I'm super proud of you, because I know in the beginning, that first year you started, you thought there's no way you would be able to do what you're doing now, but now you do it, and you do a really good job of it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's really cool to see you doing a good job, not only with your positions, but also handling upset customers and helping actors when they need medical attention. You know, a lot of that stuff goes underlooked. And it's good that you're a nurse, because you're always here to help when people need help.
Yeah.
There any particular memories that you have in a situation we could talk about where an accident happened at the haunt and you had to help somebody?
I think you helped me with this one I'm thinking about. The one that comes to mind is the guy that was on the drugs that passed out at Voodoo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a tough one.
We had to carry him up the hill from Voodoo to the clown house because there was a conga line and like people were everywhere. But he was for sure on drugs, like incapacitated. There was like 6 of us that picked him up and carried him up the hill, and we called the ambulance, and then he threw up in Terrence's Tahoe waiting on the ambulance and then was perfectly fine.
Yeah, that was something. So when you come to the haunt, don't come on drugs, don't come drunk, because it's already disorienting, but that happens, and then we dealt with it, and you helped to handle that. So you always help when there's medical issues, and then now we have a medical team, which you lead, so we have EMTs. How does our medical team look on the back end to show our customers, you know, how we make sure everyone's safe, how we have people in positions in case there is a health issue? You know, how is all that set up?
It's not like different teams, but like we have, 3 to 4 EMTs on staff.
At least at any time.
With me being a nurse, there's another nurse on staff too, and numerous other staff members that are like CPR trained or first aid trained that aren't specifically nurses or EMTs, but have had to go through training for their jobs that they have every day. But I mean, yeah, we have specific EMTs that are supposed to be set at specific areas throughout the attraction so that they're not having to like backtrack, right?
Right. So we have EMTs in different areas of the haunt, and you help oversee those issues. So when there's an incident, they come to you.
Like a major incident, yeah. But if it's stuff that they can handle on their own, like they're trusted to handle the stuff on their own, like, oh, I scraped my knee, stuff like that. I need some Tylenol. But like if it's something major, like the asthma attack we had last year, I believe, like I got called for that.
But so now we have the team, and you lead that team to make sure, and there's other leaders in the medical team, a lot of people who do an awesome job. Justin, one of our lead EMTs, he's been with us for quite a few years now. He does a really good job. He goes above and beyond to do his best, and lots of other awesome people on the team too. And then they give incident reports to you, and then you keep up with those incident reports, which helps us just maintaining, okay, what's happened each day. And then at the end of the night, we're able to track that and keep it seasonally.
See like what we can do better if it was something on our end.
Right, because if we can, we want our incident report numbers to go down, right? As few as possible. So we're always thinking about safety, you and me, from different perspectives. I'm always thinking, first and foremost, make sure the haunt's safe, make sure the floors are not slippery, make sure everything's safe, there's nothing in the way. And then you're thinking, how do we respond in the event that something were to happen?
Quickly, unseen, how like not to disturb the other customers' experiences. And from
a medical perspective, from an incident medical perspective, most of them don't happen because of the haunt.
Right.
Most of them are because they're either, unfortunately, on medications or drunk or get into a fight with somebody else, or they have asthma.
Clumsy.
Yeah, or they have asthma, and they can't handle the fog.
Like the one girl that had epilepsy, but
seizures with
came,
strobe lights.
Yeah, and had a seizure in the queue line.
So normally the medical stuff is responding to things where it's like, hey, we've warned you, like if you have seizures, don't come through the haunt. There's too many strobe lights. If you have asthma, very bad asthma, then the fog can be tough.
Bring your inhaler.
Yeah, bring your inhaler. So we're always thinking about safety, and you do an incredible job of it. And then now you're helping in other ways and stepping up in other ways. So now you're starting to look into how to improve concessions.
Yep.
So our customers and fans can really look forward to concessions being improved this year and years to come.
Yep.
So we're working on lots of new stuff. Do we want to talk about any of that?
I don't know. Probably not.
Not yet.
Probably not. Yeah, I'd let it be a surprise, especially the one thing.
Just know that come haunt season this year, you should have some more food options, and you should have more
drink options,
and better souvenirs.
Yeah.
If you go to concessions, and then in the Monster Mart, the gift shop, you're always working to improve and keep inventory there, which helps a ton, because before you were able to help with that, we had other people who have helped as well, like Susan has always done an incredible job helping with that. But you've really been able to step up now that we're working full time together, and in the off season, it really helps get a lot off my plate, so I'm able to better lead and manage our build team, our marketing team, and all of that. So, and this is your first year working at the haunt full time.
Yeah.
Outside of season. Mm-hmm. So that's been recent that you've stepped away from nursing in order to help hear more and do more things. So we're just getting started, right?
Yep.
All kinds of new stuff.
Yeah.
So, another package. Sorry, we just had a brief delay. Had to cut. Got a new package in, and one of the packages is a can opener that you got for concessions. Ironically,
yep.
We were just talking about concessions making improvements. We have a huge can opener, but that one's not always the best.
No, it's terrible. That's for big ones too.
Yeah. So, it's yours.
Thanks.
So, babe, what's your favorite part about working at the haunt?
Not having to work weekends and holidays like I did at the hospital.
Outside of haunt season?
Well, just in general. Well, I mean, I still had to work weekends and holidays. Remember, I had to basically sell my soul to get all the weekends off that I needed off. I'd have to barter with the other, because we worked every third weekend, and I did charge. So it was I had to barter with the other nurses to get them to work my weekends that I needed off during haunt season, and I would work extra weekends in August and November,
right,
to be able to be off.
Yeah. So that's a big relief for you. Not having
to do that is nice, yeah.
And then we're able to this is more behind the scenes at home stuff, but that allows you to help do more stuff at the house that before we had to make time to do.
Oh, yeah.
We
were on opposite schedules too, because I did night shift.
Right. So we never saw each other. You worked night shift. We both worked night shift during haunt season. And it's really tough with the animals and taking care of the house and everything. So now it helps a lot at home, and that helps here. And I would say from my perspective, more than anything, it's helped in that way. Mm-hmm. And it's helped us as a married couple to be able to be together more, not be separated as much. And that does a lot more for me than a lot. Huge difference, because when you were working at the hospital, I was always worried that, number one, we didn't see each other enough, and number two, just concerned about you, whereas now...
Yeah, I'd always get beat up by my patients and freaking crackheads.
Yeah, that's your old job. So, and to go off with that, it's funny, I've actually always said the job you started is nursing, which my family has people in the medical field as well. But I always said Morgan's job was to deal with real gore. Like, she would come home and sometimes have real blood on her, and I would come home with fake blood on me. Sometimes real blood too, but
Yeah, I remember I used to tell you, like, things that happened to my patients, and not violating HIPAA, but I'd be like, oh, I had a patient that had this type of amputation. Like, that would be cool for the haunt.
yeah.
Stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, and it's like you looked at it. I don't know how to explain it right now, but we've talked about it before.
yeah.
Like, you looked at the scary things as in, like, you got to fix them.
Right.
And it's like, I'm over here creating a show that's like fake blood and fake gore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the total opposite, but it all comes together in the end because there is the real side of the haunt, which is making sure people are safe.
Yeah.
And making sure that when they have accidents that they're cared for, and then on the other hand making them feel unsafe while being safe.
Yeah, I just thought about this. Remember the heartbeat monitor you got from
Drop Dead Design.
Yeah, and you were looking at the different heartbeats,
Yep.
and you're like, which one? And I was like, fake. That one looks fake.
Yep.
I was like, this one's real.
So you help with stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that's funny. Even like buying the surgical supplies and stuff from the people at Trans World, or like getting like medicine bottles and stuff for like the Nightmare Factory.
Especially with the new Nightmare
Right,
Factory.
like showing Allie and them like what they're actually used for. Like, you don't know what the laryngoscope is, but like I was showing them, like they use it to intubate people, and like it had the light.
Right.
And like she was like, oh, I thought that was not used for that. Like she thought it was like a gynecology tool, and I was like, no, it goes in their mouth. So like it's just funny to see like what other people that aren't in the medical field think that certain like tools are, and I'm like, oh no, that goes here, that's for this.
Right. And that's like Hollywood too, you know, like people who
yeah.
make movies and use props, they're not necessarily from the medical field if they're using medical props, but it's like, hey, if it looks good, then it looks good.
Yeah.
Because the majority of people are going to see it and be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
As long as it's within the realm, but then you go into the details of things, which with the Nightmare Factory has helped, like with the new asylum, Dr. Death's operating room, the morgue. You've been able to help in ways there too. So on a different subject, since we met, you've been through a lot of ups and downs with me. We've been through a lot of ups and downs together. Mm-hmm. So you've seen a lot behind the scenes that other people haven't, that we might not talk about, of course, but you see another side of me and how managing the business can be challenging and struggling way more than other people see, right?
Yeah.
So that helps you to be able to help me, which kind of like we touched on before, helps a lot, way more than you realize, and I'm appreciative for it. And I wish we could show it more, and that's kind of what we're doing with the new documentary series, right? So watch the documentary series. We have another new episode coming out soon. Morgan's going to be on that one a lot more, and you're going to get to see more depth behind our team, behind the characters on our team, and seeing what makes each team member different. And Morgan is certainly a different one. You're amazing, babe, and in so many ways I cannot thank you enough. And we have so much more to do at the haunt, and we're just getting started. And I can't wait to see all the things that you have to bring to the table, ideas that you have. You have lots of ideas, and I want to make sure we make them happen. Do you have any special memories from nights at the haunt or nights during the off season that we have from over the years?
I think the funniest one is, I think it was last year when Gwen was like, someone on the midway is like needs CPR or something.
Oh,
like it's an emergency.
2023.
And I was like, y'all got it? Like, I'm busy. And he was like, no, like we need you right now. Like it's an emergency. And I was like, okay. So I get my bag and I'm like running out to the midway, and then it's just you. You just wanted to dance with me.
It wasn't just me.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't just me.
You were boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a difference. So I was on the midway. I was playing Boss the Clown. It was the last night of that season in 2023. So I'm like...
We had a band.
What song was it that was playing?
We
Tennessee
had a band.
Whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at the time... Now this band is Bourbon Sons. Before it was the LA Maybe. So the LA Maybe was playing live in concert at the haunt. And I was playing Boss the Clown for the final weekend of the season. and they started playing Tennessee Whiskey. I knew you liked that song. Morgan loves country music. Morgan's from West Virginia. She's always been about country, and that's one of the reasons I love you too. And they were playing Tennessee Whiskey. I was like, Gwen. So I got Gwen over there and met with him as boss, but behind the scenes I said, can you get Morgan some way? And he was like, yeah. So then that's all I knew.
Yeah.
I didn't tell him the plan.
I'm sure he knew I wouldn't come unless it was like a serious medical issue, because I was busy. Like, we were about to close and I was getting all the boxes and stuff.
Right. So I guess that was one time that Gwen probably told a little bit of a fib, but it was for a good reason.
Gosh, I was tired. I was running out to the midway.
So
I was out of breath. I was like...
And there I was as boss, and then we danced.
Yeah.
Was it not special?
Yeah, it was. I think I have a video of it somewhere. I think Tony videoed it. I was trying to think if there was anything else.
There's lots to pick from.
Yeah.
I mean, building aquaphobia, seeing you being with me just to keep me company at 2:00 in the morning doing lights.
Oh yeah, I remember
back
that
in
was
the day.
Extinction. Yeah, I just would
all
sit
kinds.
With you.
Yeah, Extinction was the first one.
Yeah, and then like when we did voodoo, like I just would sit down there while you would light, and it would be spooky.
Or like when I go out on the John boat in the middle of the water to light the middle. But yeah, Morgan does so much more for the haunt than we could explain, than we could express. And she's just now came on full time, so myself, I'm super excited about it. I know you are too in many ways. And it's a new thing, but just like you learned how to sell tickets, I know that you're going to learn how to manage and how to lead. And you already do it. You already do it in a lot more ways, and I'm super proud of you for how far you've came.
At the hospital. It's just different.
It's different.
Like, this is just way different than critical care nursing.
Yeah, it's a totally different field. People are here for an experience, and we have to figure out how to serve them in those ways. So you've done a really good job in many ways since you've started at the haunt. You've grown. You lead people now, you help people, and you help save people's lives here. You've done it many times. There's been lots of people who had calls that you had to take care of them, actors that you've been there for, and not only that, but actors and employees that you've gave advice for who have, whether it's diabetes, high blood pressure, and you being able to tell them how to take care of themselves helps them a lot too. And it's a lot of that stuff that adds up that you really help with at the haunt. And now you're going to be doing more in sales, more in concessions, more with the gift shop, and it's going to be exciting. It's a new thing, just like it was when you started doing sales, but just like you did well then, I know you will now. I know you're going to get a lot better, so I'm proud of you. I'm proud of how far we've came, and the haunt, I believe, would not be where it is without you, and I appreciate you being with me through all the years, and then now trusting me and trusting the haunt enough to be able to join it and to grow from here. And I believe, and we believe, it's part of God's plan, and it's going to be pretty awesome, and only because of you. You're going to be able to bring a lot to the table.
Thanks.
Proud of you.
Thanks.
Anything?
Proud of you too.
Thanks. Before we get too lovey-dovey, anything else you want to say? All right, that concludes episode 7 of Lake Hickory Haunts Behind the Screams with my special wife, Morgan. She's so amazing. I wish I could express to you how awesome she is. If you come to the haunt, if you're part of the haunt, you'll see it in the next years. I'm sure of it. Thanks for all you do, babe. Thanks for being on the podcast, too.
You're okay.
Make sure that you go to lakehickoryhaunts.com/tickets. Get your tickets. They are on sale for the 2025 season. Follow us on all of our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of those. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And thank you so much for watching all the way through to the end. And we appreciate you as a fan. We'll scare you soon.